All right, hi everyone. My name is Amelia. I was a figure skater from the time I was like 6, and then I stopped competing and when I was about 17, and I stopped skating regularly when I was about 21. And I skated out of the Detroit Figure Skating Club, and I, because of that, learned a lot about the professional competitors that you know, I would either share a coach with, or some of my friends would share a coach with, or I would train with them over the summer. All these stories and sort of lore kind of got passed through the social part of figure skating, and it kind of didn't go beyond that. But there is some amazing stories and incredible sort of artistic expression in figure skating that I think goes overlooked. I got most of my information via YouTube, you know, just the commentators on YouTube during the competitions, also just like fact checking online, and also what's a really important piece of information would be this book called My SERGEI, which I read when I was in college, by the recommendation of Hannah, who's in this meeting right now. Johanna, who is also a figure skater. She was obsessed with this book when she was younger, and she let me read it, or she gave me the recommendation, and it was amazing. So let me just show you the cover of the book. It's like $5 on Amazon. And you guys should, I would definitely recommend it, especially during quarantine. No, it's not sharing. Hold on. Okay, so this is the book. Again, you can get it on Amazon. You can, or, you know, if you want to not get things on Amazon, I support that. But it's very cheap. It's very good. It's very Russian. It's the story of these two figure skaters. So I have decided to focus mostly on these two figure skaters. They're a Paris team called, their names are EKATERINA and SERGEI GRINKOV. And the reason that I chose them was just because their story is the most captivating, and it's really easy to teach what to look for in figure skating through them, because they are pretty much the standard of figure skating. And that's saying a lot, considering how much figure skating has changed since the 80s, which is when they were in their height. They're still considered the standard for pairs figure skating, which is a pretty incredible feat. They're both from the USSR. They were paired together by the Red Army as children. I think they were probably like 7 and 11 years old. And they went to, you know, like a sports school, and they were both individual figure skaters that got paired together by the government. And then they were told to basically skate for the good of the state, and put in this incredible mindset of just like, this is your duty, this is your job for the country. SERGEI, the male in the pairs, for most of his time skating, went on record as saying that he didn't like it, but it's, quote, what I do. So that's kind of the mindset that these two had. They were very serious. They weren't friends. They didn't talk off the ice, and you're talking tons of training time before school, probably during school, after school, in the evenings, on the weekends. There is pretty much no time to do anything except to skate when you're on that kind of level. So they're spending all these kinds of time together for years and years and years. They're not friends. They don't really like each other. And they were doing these, but they had this insane connection on the ice, and they were doing these incredible feats that still aren't seen today. And I'm going to show you what they were doing in 1987, again, when they weren't friends, and this isn't really being done still. Hold on. So what they're going to do here is Sergei is going to kind of throw Katya up in the air. She's going to do 4 rotations in the air and then land. And that's called a split quad twist. And that's still not really done. So share screen. Here we go. And here we go. I'm going to take, the audio is not really that important, but they open up the program with this move.
The defending world champions in first place coming into this final free skating program. She has captivated the hearts here in Cincinnati. 15-year-old EKATERINA GORDEEVA, 20-year-old SERGEI GRINKOV. They are both students in Moscow.
There too, they open up this program real big. At the European Championships, I thought this was a triple twist, but it's actually a quadruple twist flip. Beautifully done. You're the only player in the competition that do that.
Okay. So that was one of their signature moves. They did this the split quad, and the split quad, when they would measure Katya when she was in the air, her heart rate went over 200 beats per minute. And like the commentator said, he thought it was a triple. Most commentators thought it was a triple because nobody was doing triples at that time, or nobody was doing quads at that time. So they just ended up stopping. They just stopped doing it. There were a lot of elements that they just stopped doing because they were so difficult. No one was even close to where they were level-wise, and people weren't even recognizing it for what it was, and it ended up becoming just dangerous for them.
And you can still win the Olympics with a double twist. To this day, no one else has ever done a quad.
Yeah, to this, like, no one's done the quad split twist. Like, the girl split her legs open in the air, then did 4 rotations, then landed on one foot. And nobody, hold on, let me show, at the end, they kind of break it down so that you can see what's going on. I want you guys to really get a good understanding of the difficulty of their programs. And I'll show you a full program after this. Okay, so let's see. They just finished. Here we go. Okay, so that, again, was in 1987. They weren't talking. After this, Katya would go to her hotel room and just hang out by herself, and she didn't even know if Sergei liked her or not. Sergei obviously didn't care. It's also good to note that Katya is a Gemini and Sergei is an Aquarius. So they continue to enter competitions, win competitions. I think they enter 31 in their entire professional or competitive career, and they place in 24 and they win 23. So this is like, they're the best. I'm going to show you the first time that they went to the Olympics, which was in 1988. And again, this was before they decided to be friends and talk to each other. Okay, here we go. Playlist. Boom. And so 1988, this was, again, their first competition. I think Katya was like 16 and Sergei was about 21, something like that. And I'll comment or maybe go through, re-go through some of their elements so that you can see, you know, what to look for and what's good about their performance and everything like that.
And remember, keep your eye on him. He is a superb partner. He presents her beautifully, never overshadowing her, but yet maintaining the quality of the pair.
Also, he's really hot, and so is she. So when you watch them, watch how every little movement is purposeful and together and effortless. they, like, this is not what figure skating, pair skating looks like. This is what they did to sport. And also look at how close they are. They're usually no more than 12 inches apart, which, you know, obviously signifies a lot of trust and a lot of safety between the two of them. And it doesn't hurt that there's about 14 inches between them, making these elements a lot easier for them to fit into that. This is a throw triple sow cow. Look how much air she has. That's 3 rotations. They're rotating at the same time also. If you want, I'm just going to go back really quickly, just to see, like, again, like I said, there's about 14 inches of difference between the two of them, and they are rotating at the same speed in the same direct, or, you know, at the same time. I don't know how they did it, but they did. And again, they weren't talking during this. This is the kind of performance between two people who don't even speak to each other. Another throw triple.
There's just a genuine confidence and joy in her face and in their skating.
Also, it's important to note that most of the time the commentators are waiting for you to fuck up and talking about it during the performance, and these people have nothing but good things to say about Katerina and Sergei.
That's a lovely move, only if she can point her toe, her free leg.
This is their signature move. You'll see that a few times.
I think their style of skating, even the individual jumps and spins, that they have that same body line, the same knee action, and rhythm in them.
Absolutely.
Unison is far and above everyone else that we have seen so far tonight.
They are absolutely beautiful tonight.
Well, I think here again, this music, I think, really grabs the attention of the audience and holds them through so many different moods. And it's just lovely to see their choreography interpreting this music.
They're always together, they're always anticipating each other, and it's always fluid. It's still incredible to watch, and I've seen this 50 times.
Joy in her face. What a smile.
Was that marvelous? Little Kaka.
Okay. So that was the first Olympic competition that they were in, and they won, obviously. And in the book, my Sergei that I recommended earlier, Katya recalls going back to her hotel room and just crying because it was too easy, and it happened too fast. And she thought it would be harder to win. But it can't be that hard when you have a partner like that. I'm going to show you a few pictures of them when they were kids. Because it's really cute, and then we'll get on to when it gets juicier, which is really important. So give me one moment. Share. Okay, so this is Miss Katya, and she's a little baby. She's so cute. Her father wanted her to be a dancer, and she chose figure skating. This is the two of them. That's Sergei and Katya I think when they got paired together, and then this is them working. And they're just adorable together. Okay, so that was 1988. After the Olympics, they were training, and they do a lot of lifts, obviously, as you can see from their last program. And when they were training, Sergei hit a patch of soft ice and dropped Katya and hit her, and she hit her forehead, and she ended up having to go to the hospital because she had a pretty bad concussion. And again, this is when they weren't really friends. They weren't really talking. Katya had no idea, she had a crush on him, and she didn't know how he felt about her. And he showed up at the hospital with flowers. And according to Katya's mother, she's never seen a more tormented young man before. He was blaming himself. He was so worked up and sad. And I think that's when things started moving a little bit in a different direction. They became closer. They started, like he came to her 14th birthday and brought her this big bear, or 16th birthday or something like that. And things got a little bit more romantic, and they kind of admitted their feelings to each other, which is really cute. And they fell in love, and they got married in 1990. I think they had their first kiss on New Year's Eve. And then I think maybe a year and a half after that, they got married. And even before they got married, their coaches, their friends, everybody was just like, they have this connection, this romance about them that, is undeniable. So they get married in 1990 or 1991. They have a baby named Daria that they call Dasha, who was born in September of 92. And they're just like, we're done. We're just going to tour, do little shows. We're not going to compete anymore. We've worked our entire life. The Red Army gave us, these assignments, and we passed. So we're just going to chill. And then in the 90s, in the early 90s, the Olympic rules changed so that professional skaters, people that made money from skating, could enter into the Olympics. Before that, it was only amateurs. So halfway through the Olympic season, which is a full 4 years, so you start training, let's say you start training for the 2006 Olympics, you start training in 2002. Halfway through that training session, halfway through those 4 years, they decide that they're going to join the Olympics, which again is unheard of. People train for years and years and years, and basically Katya and Sergei were like, we're just going to do it. Like, we just feel we're just going to go for it. We want to have fun. We want to see how it's going. And obviously having a child changes your body so much. Katya was having some troubles with some of her jumps and some of her elements, but they still wanted to see, how they could do, or if they could come back. And that would bring them to the 1994 Lillehammer Olympics, which, if you guys know, I know that figure skating isn't in pop culture that much, but the 1994 Lillehammer Olympics were where Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan competed. In the 94 Olympics, I could do a whole hangout on that alone. Like, that was just like full drama Olympics, and it was amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like neither Tanya nor Nancy won. It was this girl, Oksana Bayul from Ukraine, who had an even more crazy drama story, like an actual like hard, like terrible story, and she won because she was amazing. But anyway, they go to the 94 Olympics with this program, and this is, I would say, arguably their best program. And so what I want you to look for in this program, now that you've seen one and you saw one where they didn't know each other very well, I want you to look for what it's called lines. So I'll show you good examples of lines from the two of them. Lines are like finishing your body, like making sure that your body is in a nice line that look like as if you were drawing it. And you want it to look aesthetically pleasing. You want it to look like there was thought put into every single part of your body. So instead of having your hand out like this, it would be like this. Instead of having your arm hanging like this, it's open and it's thoughtful. And your lines are like, you wouldn't have your hand like this. You would follow it and you would look up. So they had amazing lines. And I'll show you. So as you can see, Katya's lines on her own are really nice. It's a nice straight line. He's following her body. She's kind of, complimenting his body, and they're both very thoughtful of each other. The same with this one. Look at how close they are and how perfect their lines are together. It's like it will never stop if, their bodies didn't stop on their own. Okay, so this is the Lillehammer Olympics, and I want you to look for their lines. I want you to look again at how close they are to each other. And I will point out a couple of mistakes in this program, because there are a few. There's maybe one or two big ones. And it's important to point out that this isn't a perfect program, because that's not always what figure skating is going to A, recognize, or B, reward. They're not going to reward perfection necessarily, especially in this time, because the artistic integrity and capabilities were really, really important to the judges. And you'll see that. But before that, I do kind of want to show their competition just so that you can see how exceptional they are. So I will show you a little bit of their competition, the people that got second, and people, and this pair, a lot of people think should have won, but I disagree. So this is them. I'm not going to show you the full program, but I'll show you just their style and the difference between this set of pairs and Katya and Sergei. And they're also from Russia.
On the ice now, the second place team after the technical program from Russia, Natalia Mishkutinuk and Artur Dmitriev. It's almost his energy that is keeping them going.
So like they're very captivating, and they're kind of wild, and you can tell that they're not really listening to each other. And they're really far apart during a lot of their program.
Look at that, side by side, triple toe looks right off the top of the program.
And you can also, the other thing is, it's important to listen for the pumps and the scratching on the ice. That you don't want to hear that, and I can hear that really a lot in this program. So we get an idea of their style, which is amazing. They got second. The program, if you want to watch the whole thing, is Natalia Mishkutinuk. I never know how to pronounce her last name, and Artur Dmitriev in the 1994 Olympics. I would definitely recommend watching the whole thing, but I don't think we really have time. I will show you Moonlight Sonata. This is there we go. So again, this is after their baby, this is after they're married, this is after they've, kind of grown up together.
GORDEEVA and SERGEI GRINKOV.
Sorry. This is the wrong one. I want you guys to hear the commentary. Give me one moment. Stop. Okay, so again, we're paying attention to lines. We're paying attention to closeness. We're paying attention to how quiet they are, how little you can hear them. In GRINKOV, 1984. Okay, here we go.
Oh, looking on.
On the ice, representing Russia, EKATERINA GORDEEVA and SERGEI GRINKOV.
Here are the leaders. The 1988 Olympic champions, EKATERINA GORDEEVA and SERGEI GRINKOV of Russia.
Also notice how much hotter they've gotten.
EKATERINA is still only 22 years of age. Sergei is 27.
Look how close.
Very nice. Double axis right off the top. Now watch for the height on the split triple twist.
Remember, they switched to triple because the quad wasn't even with it. But they can do it. Like, these kids are breathing at the same time. Their hearts are beating together. And I think after they had their child together and after they got married, their skating just got stronger.
Wow. Both of them out now. Textbook exit.
Not only does their refinement set them apart from the rest of the field, technically, it's the speed.
But it's effortless speed. That's what really sets them apart.
And quiet.
Quiet. Oop, that was one little mistake. He won't get penalized for that because he did complete the rotations. He just didn't exit cleanly.
It's like Beethoven wrote Moonlight Sonata just for them.
their signature. He messes up here.
He did a single sow cow.
Okay, so you'll watch her go twice, 2 rotations. He only does 1. And this is he considers this his biggest mistake of his entire life, pretty much. Like, I'll show you at the end, towards the end of the video, she asks him if he did a double, and he just shakes his head, and you can see the disappointment. And in the book, she just says, like, he never stopped regretting it. And the reason that he did a single was because he was looking out for her, because she had problems with this after her pregnancy. So he just wanted to make sure that she didn't look bad, but she did it.
He did a single sow cow.
Which even isn't that big of a deal. It's really not.
Sergei's had a couple of falters throughout this program. Once with double flip earlier down the sow cow.
One lift remaining to what they hope will be their triumphant return.
So that's that. She's gonna ask him double, and he's gonna shake his head right
The skating
here.
world calls
And he's
them
gonna stop and shake his
G&G.
head.
GORDEEVA and GRINKOV.
Yeah, but they won, and obviously they won, but that was the last.
Lloyd
That
and
was the
Isabel
last
looking on.
Olympics that they would do. Because, hold on, let me put my headphones back on. I know that I'm going a little bit over time, but I'm almost done. That was the last Olympics they would do together, because in 1995, after, while they were training together for an ice show, Sergei had gotten pale and went to go sit down, and then passed out and was immediately taken to the hospital. This was about a year after they won the 1994 Lillehammer Olympics. He was in his skates, he passed out, he was taken to the hospital. It turned out that he had a heart condition, and 2 of his arteries were almost completely blocked, and he had a silent heart attack, and he died in his skates at age 28. Which is the tragedy, that it's just tragic. So he had 2-year-old or 3-year-old Daria and Katya survive him. Obviously, Katya was heartbroken. She never skated competitively as a pairs person again. I don't know that she even competed after that. But her and Sergei left a legendary mark on figure skating. Still to this day, at 25, 30 years later, they are G&G, which is what they're called, are the standard for pairs figure skating and figure skating in general. But yeah, Sergei passed away. But his legacy with Katya will be eternal. There's something otherworldly and transcendental about their existence, their performances, and their love together. And so I don't know if I can, the person who's moderating this from 8 Ball, if there's a way I can send what I'll do, I'll send a link to one of my favorite programs from them, and you guys can watch it on your own time. Their choreographer Marina, who was briefly my choreographer, which, my degree of separation to them is just that, which I take to heart. She choreographed this program after Rodin's sculptures, and they skate to Romeo and Juliet. So I'll send that in the chat. You guys are free to watch that. I would definitely recommend it. It's their most beautiful program. And yeah, I don't know, to recap really quickly, I don't think any of this artistic achievement, athletic achievement would have been able to be achieved outside of communism. I think that Russia's funding of the arts and sports and the recruitment of young, passionate athletes and the fact that, you know, Katya and Sergei and all these other athletes would either be living with their coaches or they would be living in, you know, community housing on their own as children. So really all they had to do was skate. And it was put into their minds that this was for the good of the state. This was for the pride of the entire country. And that was kind of on their shoulders the whole time. They didn't skate for their own glory. Again, Katya didn't even really care that she won the Olympics the first time. She was kind of pissed that it was easy. So their pride and their sort of satisfaction was through their country. And they felt that they were doing good by their country by doing well skating. But thank you very much. I get the way to end this is just to hang up, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.